Welcome back to Champion News Radio, brought to you by championnews.net. This is Carol Parisi, Jack Roser, and I with our Father's Day edition, and Jerry McDaniel. Jerry, for our listeners, if they were to read your book, are there any surprises for them that they would find to be compelling or astounding?
There are a lot of surprises because I'm not a political correctness scholar. Okay.
Not a political correctness scholar.
One of the, I think, biggest surprises would be my treatment of the office of vice president, because that's so totally different from our tradition. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely tied to the Constitution. I think people are surprised to find out that Karl Marx did not originate socialism.
Who was the originator of socialism?
It goes back to pre-Karl Marx. In 1847, the Communist League, now bear in mind it's the Communist League, had a meeting in London, and they commissioned Frederick Engels to draw up a catechism of communist beliefs. He drew up two drafts, neither of which was printed until years later. But using those two drafts, he and Karl Marx drew up the Communist Manifesto. Mm. In other words, they didn't invent or establish socialism. What they did was attempt to define socialism as it was practiced at the time. The socialism is credited to Robert Owen, who was a communal societies back in the early 1800s, and he's the one that coined the word socialism because he didn't like the word communism because it sounded too much like the Christian term communion, and Owen was an atheist, an avowed atheist, so he started calling it socialism. Karl Marx and Engels picked up the title, picked up the name in their Communist Manifesto.
What else would be compelling for our readers? I see here you have enforcing the Constitution. How do we, the people, enforce the Constitution?
There's only one way, and we've been very lax on it.
And what is that?
Vote the scoundrels out of office. we get a chance every 4 years or every 2 years or every 6 years, depending on the office. We get a chance to correct the problems that have built up. And yet we keep sending back the same representatives and the same senators year after year after year. Robert Byrd served 57 years in Congress and the Senate. We've got a lot of senators and congressmen who've been in office for almost 40 years. 36 seems to be the outer limits that most.
So it's a career.
It's a career, okay. And it's the only way we can get rid of them is by voting them out of office.
Well, how do we the people do that, Jack? How do we the people vote them out of office?
Well, I think luckily the Tea Party people are a new army to be added onto the Republican side of the political thing. The Democrats have debauched the country and should be properly blamed for it. They've run us horribly into debt with some complicity from the Republicans. So along have come all of these Tea Party people who have good feelings about and good intelligence about what our founding fathers wanted, and it's a lot different from what we've got. So I think it's a good enough Bible in a way for the present to say that the Tea Party people are going to not only flesh out but organize and fight in these coming elections to get us out of this socialist mess that we're in. We can take a lot of guidance from our founders and from that idea that John Adams said that we've given you a constitution for moral and religious people. Well, it's time we acted for ourselves with our own intelligence and initiative, that we take back our lives and quit paying duty to these stinking people that have taken over our government. Who says that all of these people are on boards and all over the place, especially in our schools. Who says we should listen to those people? They're just running down huge salaries to not educate our children. They're indoctrinating our children in government propaganda at high salaries and with outrageous unions that take it like they're right as some working men to tell us all how we should live. I'm not ready to listen to a bunch of phony, non-working socialists that are in these unions. I don't see them as working men. Give me the Teamsters, not the teachers' union. There's a lot more truth in the honest sweat of a Teamster. There is in all of the Illinois Education Association that's given us this big, expensive mess for which we're paying so much. The arrogance of these people that are running our government. It's terrible. We're smarter than they are. We're closer to our problems. Leave our problems with us. Our families and our communities will solve them without these progressives, socialists, communists, whatever these creeps are, with their arrogance to make us pay for them to be in office and tell us what to do in detail about buildings and highways and everything else, as if they were the source of all real knowledge. I'm disgusted with them.
I think a lot of America's disgusted with them. Jerry, when we come back from the break, can we wrap up with some of our founding principles and some of the other things besides voting, what our listeners can do to help restore America to her founding fathers' vision and passion, and that is our Constitution.